welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss timelines. What is timeline? Timelines are essential in managing problems where additional deposits or withdrawals are made, as well as changes in the interest rate. Guys, what do you understand from this? You will deposit or withdraw money from your account more than once during the time after opening an account with a certain amount. Guys, questions that we did in the previous videos, between initial and final amount, there were no transactions. You still remember that? However, this time things are different. Sometimes interest rates also can be changed during the period. Is it clear? Okay, timelines will help you to solve this type of questions. This example represents a timeline that you see here. T0 represent, that is this one. T0 represent the amount you use to open an account. Always timeline start with the T0, that is very important. When you draw a timeline, T0 you have to write it first. Here the total period is 10 years. You can see that one. That is the last one is T10. That is 10 years. That is the total period of time. What do you understand from this? Open an account with the 8,000 Rand, isn't it? Open an account with the 8,000 Rand. After 5 years, that is why I put T5. After 5 years, you deposit again 2,000 in the same account. Did you see that one? Okay. Then what happened? After 8 years, that is T8. From T0, T8. After 8 years, what did you do? You withdraw 3,000. Negative sign means it's a withdrawal. And at the end, you have to calculate how much money will be there in the account. That is this one. How much amount that you have to calculate the value of A. Here, the interest rate is not changing throughout the process. You can see that one from T0 up until T10, interest rate is what? 7% per annum. Did you see that? This is just an example. So this is how we draw timeline. Guys, we can do this type of questions in two ways. One is a straight method. Other one is a long method. It's really time consuming, okay? So in straight method, you have to go to each transaction. You have to go to each transaction, whether it is a deposit or withdrawal, doesn't matter. And think how many years left to the end. So look at this example. From 8,000, if you go to 8,000, from 8,000, how many years left? 10 years. That is the amount that you used to open an account, isn't it? So from 8,000, how many years left? 10 years, isn't it? And so you have to just use compound interest formula for 8,000 for 10 years. Clear? Now go to 2,000. From 2,000, how many years left? 5 years. Because 2,000 you deposit after 5 years, isn't it? Altogether 10 years. So from 2,000 you have 10 years period of time left, isn't it? And then go to 3,000. 3,000 is a withdrawal, but doesn't matter. Yes. From 3,000, how many years left? 2 years. Do you see that one? So in each case, use compound interest formula and add or subtract, looking at if it is a deposit or a withdrawal. That is, final amount A we can calculate. A is equal to, start with the 8,000. 8,000, 1 plus, I'm not writing the interest rate, I to the power, N is what? From 8,000, how many years left? 10 years to the end, isn't it? Then plus. Why I am using plus? Because 2,000 is a deposit again, isn't it? You are adding. That is, you have to put plus sign. 2,000 is the P of the formula. Then 1 plus I to the power N. From 2,000, how many years left? 5 years, isn't it? To the end of the period. That we already discussed. Then next one is 3,000. Since 3,000 is a withdrawal, that is very important. Don't use plus, you have to use minus 3,000. You understand? Then 1 plus I to the power N is how many years left from 3,000 to the end? 2 years. When you do this one in a calculator, you will get the final answer. That is the amount at the end of 10 years in your account. You will see. Rand 6,500 is deposited into a savings account. So you open an account with 6,500. 3 years later, Rand 7,400 added to the savings, isn't it? The very same account. At the end of 5 years, Rand 5,800 is withdrawn. You can see that it's a withdrawal. Clear? So that must be there in your mind. From the account, calculate how much money will be in the account at the end of 10 years. If the interest rate here is 11%, compound annually for the entire period. So you don't need to worry about interest rate. Sometimes it also can be changed. Okay, so you have to change the formula accordingly, that you will see in the other example. Don't worry. So let me draw a timeline. This is a timeline, and I told you always it has to start with the T0. It is 6,500. 6,500. Clear? All right. Now the next transaction is what? After 3 years. So T3. The important years just represent on the timeline. Okay. You don't need to write T0, T1, T2, T3. Okay. So just write it. Even if you write like that, there is no problem. Next one is T3. That is 3 years later, isn't it? T3. T3. What is T3? Rand 7,400. 7,400. That's another deposit. You understand? Then what happened after 5 years? That is T5. T5 means from T0 to T5, how many years? 5 years. Okay. So what did you do? You withdraw a certain amount, isn't it? What is that amount? Rand 5,800. That you withdraw it. Then at the end of 10 years, that is T10, that is the last year. T10, how much amount will be there in the account? We can see that throughout this process, the interest rate doesn't change, that is 11%. Clear? So this is the timeline. Now we can just apply the formula. So what is the final question? The amount, the how much money will be in the account? That is the final question. Okay, so you have to calculate A. Now things are very simple. A is equal to, just treat each transaction separately. Start with the T0. From T0, how many years left to the end? 10 years, isn't it? So I have to write 6,500 bracket 1 compound interest formula 1 plus I is what? R over 100, 11%, that is 11 over 100, that is 0,11 to the power, that entire session you have to write it, that is 10 years. So we are done with the 6,500 and its interest. Okay. Now we move to the next transaction, that is plus 7,400. And what is the interest for 7,400 throughout? How many years? From T3 to T10. How many years? 7 years. 1 plus 0,11 to the power 7. Now one more transaction also there, that is a withdrawal, that is 5,800. Since it is a withdrawal, you have to use minus 5,800. You write the very same formula, but the only difference is you have to write minus, negative sign there. Okay. So from 5,800, how many years left? That after the withdrawal, how many years? 5 years, isn't it? So 1 plus 0,11 to the power 5. Clear? So we are done actually. Then type it exactly like this in the calculator. You will get the final answer. So the final answer is 24,000 and 24,046. 48. This will be the final answer. In this example, you can see that John invests 10,000 rand at 7.8% per annum compounded yearly. After 3 years, he withdrawn around 2,000. After 6 years, he withdrawn 8,000. What is the value of the investment after 7 years? So he deposit only 10,000. Then after that, 2 withdrawals he did it. So after this withdrawal, how much amount will be there? Okay. So remember here, interest also playing a very good role here. So you have to mention that one as well. Okay, so this is a very simple question here. Deposit 10,000, then other 2 transactions are withdrawals. Okay, so when you draw timeline, minus 2,000 and minus 8,000, you have to mention there. Clear? So let's draw a timeline. Okay, so I draw a line. Now the first one is T0. Always don't forget, you have to write T0. Don't write T1, it is T0. That is T0, 10,000, that is representing T0. Now the next one is what? After 3 years, from T0, T1, T2, T3, that is T3 you have to mention. You withdraw 2,000, right? So 2,000 minus means you can see that it's a withdrawal. From timeline, it is easy to identify that it's a withdrawal. So it will help you when you write formula. After 6 years, again another withdrawal, that is T6. T6 means after 6 years, another withdrawal of 8,000. Is it clear? Then how much amount will be there at the end of T7? The interest rate is common. Okay, maybe in the next example we can discuss what will happen if interest rate is changing. How do you change the formula? I will show you that one. So look at here. Throughout the process, the interest rate is 7.8. This A, the final amount will be A is equal to, start with the 10,000. Actually, you are applying compound interest formula to each transactions, whether it is deposit or withdrawal. Let me start with the 10,000, first transaction. So here the P value is 10,000. Bracket 1 plus I, that is 1 plus I is what? Interest rate. 7.8 divided by 100, that is 0.078 to the power is what? How many years from T0 to the end? 7 years. That is 7 minus 0, right? Okay. Now the next one is minus. Why minus? Because it's a withdrawal. Clear? 2,000. 1 plus I is same thing, that is 0.078 to the power how many years? Go to 2000, that is 3rd year up until the last. How many years? 4 years, isn't it? 3 and 7. 7 minus 3 is 4 years. Is it clear? Now next one 8,000. Sorry, I didn't write negative sign because 8,000 is not a deposit, it's a withdrawal. Okay, so minus 8,000 rand. 1 plus I is 0.078. Here we are using compound interest formula. Okay, from T6 to T7, how many years? Only 1 year, isn't it? To the power 1. So we are done. Then type exactly like that in your calculator. You will get the answer. The answer is going to be 5,592 rand. 5,592,43. So this is the answer. We are done. Easily we can get it, though this type of question carries 5 to 6 marks, but just apply this method, you will get the entire marks. So it's very simple. I hope you are enjoying the video. Now we can go to the next question where you will see the interest rate also changing again. Mrs. Munro invests 125,000 in the money market for 15 years. That is example 3. The interest is compounded annually. The interest rate paid during the first 3 years, what is that? 9.5%. Clear? Then 12 percentage per annum for the next 5 years. After 3 years, next 5 years, it has to go with the 12 percentage interest rate. So we can see that interest rate is fluctuating, changing, right? Then 10,5 percentage for the last 7 years. Towards the end, last 7 years, 10,5 percentage. How much money will she have in the account at the end of the period? You open the account with this amount. Then after that, there is no transaction, isn't it? That is the initial amount. Then you have to find what is the final amount. So here, but you can see a certain thing is changing. What is that? Interest rate. So how do you do this question? Okay, this question also we can do it with the help of timeline. Okay, let me draw a timeline. Alright guys, so as usual, you open an account with 125,000, isn't it? So what is that? That is our T0, right? T0. T0 is around 125,000. Clear? Then first 3 years, that is T3. See, all, whether it is a transaction or interest rate, anything is changing, everything you have to mention on the timeline. First 3 years, that is T3. Okay, then what? From T3, next 5 years means 3 plus 5, that is T8. Then last 7 years, that is 8 plus 7 is going to be 15. T15. So first 3 years is the interest rate 9,5 percentage. Then next 5 years, do you see that? Next 5 years, it's going to be 12 percentage. Then last 7 years, it's going to be 10,5 percentage. See that one? So everything I mentioned on the timeline. But here only one transaction, that is only deposit 125,000. The rest are the interest rate is changing, that also you have to mention it. Okay, just imagine interest rate is same. Then how do you do this question? 125,000 is there for 15 years, isn't it? Is it clear? So how do you write the formula if you see that interest rate is not changing? Just using compound interest formula, A is equal to 125,000, then 1 plus I to the power n. That's how we do it, isn't it? Since the interest rate is changing here, you have to split this one for each of them. That is the only thing that you have to do it. And the number of years also you have to change it. Clear? So how do you write here? That is A is equal to 125,000. First 3 years, that is T0 to T3. That is first 3 years, that is 1 plus, we have the interest rate what? 9,5. That is I is equal to 9,5 divided by 100. That is 0,095 to the power 3. Is it clear? When you do this one, you are actually here, T3, the end of 3rd year. Okay? You have an amount. That amount is going to go next to what? 5 years with this interest rate 12%. So this amount is the P of the next compound interest formula. This is P and it has to go next to 5 years. So write P times 1 plus I is what? 12% is 12 divided by 100. That is 12, 0,12 to the power 5. Clear? So 3 years, 9,5%, we did that one. Now that amount going to go again 5 years with the 12%. When you do this one, you are actually here. Now this amount, that is from here up until here, this has to go how many years more? 7 years, isn't it? With the 10,5 interest. So next compound interest, So the one that I underline is the P of the next 7 years. Okay, so this has to go 1 plus I is what? 10 comma 5 divided by 100, that is 0 comma 105 to the power 7. So this is how you have to write. When you do this one, you will get the answer. So here what you are doing, the interest rate is multiplied 3 times, because each times the interest rate is changing. You can see that one. So according to that, you are so P is 125,000. Then after that, interest rate you have to write it in the form of multiplication. You have to split it according to each change in the interest rate. Is it clear? When you do this one, you will get the answer. So the final answer is going to be rand 581,806. That is 581,806. 100,31. So this will be the answer. So this is how you have to change it if interest is changing. Is it clear? Guys, here you can see here 3 plus 5 plus 7 is going to be the total number of years, that is 15 years. Okay guys, so this is the last example that I'm going to do it. Lenny deposits 12,000 rand in an account, and 4 years later 6,000 rand in the same account. Okay, so 2 deposits she made it. Then what happened? Compounded annually for 9% per annum for the first 3 years. So the interest rate also fluctuating. You can see that first one is 9% per annum for the first 3 years. Then after that what happened? 7% for the rest of the period. How much will she have in the account at the end of 8 years? So more than one deposit and interest rate also changing. Alright guys, now you have to first let me write the deposits. First one is T0. T0 is around 12,000. Then what? 4 years later, that is T4. T4 is 6,000. Okay, then the interest rate. All right, now let me write the interest rate on the timeline. That is first 3 years it is going to be 9%. That is T0 up until T3. From here up until here, what is the interest rate? 9%. From T3 to the end, that is altogether 8 years. Let me write T8. So T3 up until T8, the interest rate is 7%. Okay, so here 2 transactions are there, then 2 interest rate also there. How do you do this question? So go to each transaction and apply compound interest formula. Okay, so interest rate you're changing, so that also you have to consider. So final answer is going to be A is equal to 12,000. That is the first deposit. It has to go first 3 years with the 9%. That is 1 plus I is 0,09 to the power 3. So next 5 years, that is 1 plus 0,7 over 100 is 0,07 to the power 5. This is for 12,000. We are done with the 12,000. It has to go first 3 years with the 9%, next 5 years with the 7%. So we are done with the 12,000. Now move to the 6,000. Plus, because it's a deposit, 6,000. 6,000 has to go next to 4 years. From T4 to T8, how many years? 4 years. But interest rate is not changing during that time, isn't it? It is under the influence of 7%. Do you see that one? Okay. So 6,000 is there for 4 years. That is 1 plus 0,07 to the power 4. We are done actually. When you do this one in the calculator, what is the answer? The answer is 29,660,92. And 29,660,92. This amount will be there after all these changes. This amount will be there in that account. She will get it. Is it clear? So this is how we do timeline. So you have to change it on timeline. If sometimes the deposit will be changing, sometimes interest will be changing, sometimes both will be changing, like this question. So you just change the timeline accordingly. That's it. Alright guys, this is the homework that I want to give you in this video. Question 1.1. Simon deposited around 8,000 in the money market fund. After 3 years, he withdrew 1,500. How much will be in the account 7 years after the deposit was made if 10,5 per annum compound interest compounded yearly is paid? So this is a very simple question. Here we can see two transactions. One is a deposit, the other one is withdrawal. And throughout the period, we can see only one interest rate, 10,5%. So you can just draw a timeline and you can do this question. Just try yourself, okay? Okay guys, I'm wrapping up this long video right now. We will discuss exchange rates or money conversion in my upcoming video. See you until then. Bye-bye.